Uh-oh, we live. Uh-oh.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to another episode of New Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Alive. Y'all see, I got the Nile Valley Dream Team in the building. You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna get a little time today to do some Nile Valley uh, pilgrimage reflections off of this recent tour with the greatest tour guide in the universe, and also the Nasu and chief priest of Henensu, uh, our brother Uncle Nu, and we have the Maat clan in the building, and we have our brother Daoud. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and a couple of Facebook groups. So there's a lot of conversation circulating around about the culture. So we got some cultural practitioners that are here to help us circumnavigate those treacherous waters, so we don't get snatched up, by a lot of the jackleg stuff that's going on out
Uh-oh.
here. So without any further ado, it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others. The Nile Valley champions are in the building. So had to pull through, had to pull my clan,
This guy.
had to pull brother Daoud.
Yes, yes.
All right, all right. Peace, peace, Uncle
So
Justin.
Temple, peace, Uncle
so
Justin.
Nasu, if we could start with a little background about the Ku Kim Kemet tour, and then we can segue uh, into this most recent trip.
Okay. Well, life, prosperity, and health to, all of the African family tuning in. You know what I mean? It's an honor and privilege to be here, with family and also, especially to, share, our experience, traveling to the Nile Valley for our, sacred annual sacred pilgrimage and or biannual sacred pilgrimage, I should say. And this particular tour, the Ku Kim Kemet tour, this is something that we started. I want to say first one 2014, and we've been going strong ever since. I've been to Kemet about 7 times total now. So you know, setting up about to set up shop over there, as they say. But yeah, this actually was born out of the Cool Kim Radio podcast, which was you know co-founded by myself and my good brother Rod Mary. Salute to Rod Mary and the fam over there in South Africa. Um, we started the podcast, and after maybe a year about a year, the podcast is going. My brother, hit me up. Right, he hit me up like, "Yo, Benu, pack a bag. We go on the Kemet." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." You know what I mean? I didn't. I thought he was just playing or whatever. So he was like, "Nah, I want you to, find a ticket, and these are the dates, and send me the itinerary for it." So he I sent him the itinerary for it was a crazy flight. I just wanted to see if he was gonna really do it. And he sent funds for the flight. I booked a ticket next month. We was over there, and once we got over there, and the guide, you know he saw that like we knew the information. He saw that we could read the glyphs. You know what I'm saying? We knew the Neteru and things of that nature. So he was like, "Whoa, I say, who the hell are y'all?" Right? You know what I mean? And then he was like, "Y'all know all the stuff. If you ever have the opportunity to work here, you should." And the rest is history. It's like, yo, it's like, yeah, we want to do that and we want to work with you. So we did that in the next year. We kicked it off in an official way. And we've been doing it every year. The purpose, right, of this tour is, really it's another expression of my purpose, the purpose of Henensu, and that's to really share share the true information on Nile Valley culture as a an ancestral culture, a Pan African ancestral culture that can be utilized as a vehicle for Pan African nationalism. That's my purpose. So when we go to Kemet, when we go to Nubia, when we travel to the Sudan, and really when we go anywhere else, but we do this to bring out the essence of the culture, to show what I like to call the continuity and kinship of African culture, beginning with the first documented expression of it in the Nile Valley, and then following the thread throughout the rest of the continent, and showing the relationship between African cultures and traditions. You know what I mean? And this is, and it's a very, very important focus, especially during this time. And you know we like to really build on the foundation that great ancestors laid, such as Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, and also the ancestor Sheikh Anta Diop, as he laid down with the cultural unity of Black Africa, and his work. So we go there, and we focus on how African people are more like than different, how we've been doing the same things for millenniums, and we still do the same thing today, whether you're on the continent or the diaspora, or in the diaspora. You know what I mean? So that's the purpose of the tour, bringing the family back to pay homage, and to really learn the tradition, as our ancestors laid down, traveling to the places where they laid them down, visiting the villages, the islands, and things of that nature where they laid their heads. So that's what's going on.
Okay, can you bring us into present day? We got some of these other warriors here online. So, what was the process like? Getting folks signed up and taking folks on the tour. Was it different this time versus some of and then we could get into directly into their experiences going.
Okay. Well, in terms of signing up, we primarily advertise or promote the tour on social media, outlets, and you know, so that's Facebook, that's Instagram, Twitter, things of that nature. But we also have our own website, www.henensu.com, and on that website you can, find all of the information, as far as registration, itinerary, and things of that nature on the website. um, so like normally though, when it comes to folk going on the tour, they often been eyeing and planning to go on the tour for a couple of years, and then finally boom, right? They're able to actually make it happen, and it's just a matter of either going directly to the site, or normally they'll contact me. So that's the norm. And this time, as far as that goes, wasn't any different. I think one thing I will say that was kind of different though was, you know I don't think we really went as hard on the social media promotion as we normally do. Normally, I might do a bunch of videos and commercials and things of that nature, but this one here was much more intimate. Um, you know, But at the same time, I feel like it was for the right purpose in terms of the group that that we had, the family, that went. And yeah, definitely some very powerful links were made. The trip itself though, yeah, it was way different from previous trips. We could get into some of that, but yeah, it was a lot of newness and a lot of first times, even for myself. Being able to go in and to meet people that I never actually interacted with or worked with before, and also to um, go to some places there. And that was my seventh time going, and there were places that we went that that was my first time going. So um, yeah, it was amazing, right? But yeah, getting folks signed up, it's that's always something that it just requires having enough foreknowledge, and then also having enough time, in order to get your registration and everything secured. And you know that's I guess that's kind of normal in the travel business and whatnot. So not nothing too out of the ordinary.
All right. To you, Mr. Dubai. So let's go to uh the brother Dawood and get a chance to introduce yourself to the fam. You know, uh, let them know some of your experiences. Was this your first time going to Kemet? How did you find out? What some of those things like that.
Okay, my name is Dawood Knuckles, from New York, and shout out to Naj Born Allah. Thank you for being on this platform. Um, yeah, I met brother Benu, actually about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. I was looking for some information. I'm big into ancient Kemet, but I'm not an expert. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning, and but I've always been fascinated with the culture, just the history of it. And so I was looking at a bunch of different trips and trying to find a trip over there. And then I ran into Benu, I think on Instagram, I'm not sure. And we've been talking ever since. And then I was supposed to go last, not this past December, but the year before that. So probably about a little over 2 years. And but I had some other plans in December. I do like a lot of art stuff. So it kind of ran the same time as another event I had. And but I kept just talking to him like, yo, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. And he's been like real cool. He never like pressured me, like, yo, you said you was coming with like, so I just really respected his personality and how he handled the whole situation with every time I had a question, he'd be like, yo, call me. He'd give me his number and then he'd be on the phone in 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't like, yo, you coming or not? And when I was ready to go, I was like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And and he just been supportive. And any information I needed to get to learn, he was on point. He knew what he was talking about, and it was dope. Yeah, that's my first time going to the continent. Period. And I'm glad I went with this group, and it was brilliant. Anything else?
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you could share with the fam in regards to preparation? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are some of the things that you could share, with your fam? Like, Sue spoke about, like a year or two in preparation to go, blah blah blah. Like, what are some of them things that you could share with the fam in regards to preparing their self and their imagination
Mm.
for what they're about to see over in the Nile Valley?
Okay. Okay. He had a he definitely prepared us well. Let's um he prepared us like the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in the desert. climate. You know what I'm saying? So we went over there in December, but it was like 70 degrees, 70 something degrees in the afternoon, and it'd be like 50, 40 degrees at nighttime. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, it was real. Like you see some of the footage, like when we go out in the afternoon, we got t-shirts on, and then you'll see us eating dinner in a bubble coat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a straight winter jacket. It was like, it was crazy. So like that definitely you gotta bring just layers. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like, we can have shorts on, but you gotta have a long sleeves and a coat. Like you gotta have those layers with you. Um, One of the, I guess, the more main, like the big topics that he prepared us for was just like this, like health wise. There's a lot of he brought it up. Like I don't know how you would say it. Like far as like, all right, you're going to Africa, you're gonna have to get this shot, da 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 yada yada. Um, I never really subscribed to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the question was raised in the conversation. So and I was surprised that he was like, no, it's kind of legitimate, but depending on what part you're going and this and that. And he informed us well and what to have, just make sure your immune system is on point. You know what I'm saying? What I forgot what Benu told us to bring. I think like echinacea and just like things that kind of just help make sure you straight. We could talk to you more about that. As far as I think it was like echinacea, vitamin C. He had the
Probiotics.
silver collateral, probiotics, like that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So a few weeks before you head out, just kind of get like on a regiment where you got that. So I went to CVS. I got some echinacea, some probiotics, and make sure your digestion is straight. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't get a shot. I didn't get the thousand. I don't know how real that thing is. I heard that people say different things. I got a lot of family and friends from like West Africa, and they never had a shot. But then I heard like, so is that kind of a thing to deter black people from going to Africa? You know what I'm saying? Like so. But he broke it down for us. He told us what it was. So like he it's a thing. Like I had people ask me, like, "Yo, you getting a, what I'm saying? You get a shot?" And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you believe that? Like, so, but he broke it down for us, like, that kind of stuff, and so that was like one of the main things. Just the environment, the health wise. He told us like where we're going. His trip in December is different from his trip in was it July? I think it's July. Where you go? So this one was a little shorter. So we didn't get to see the Hatshepsut. I definitely want to go back to see the Hatshepsut. That's one of my favorites. But he broke down where we're gonna go, and it was brilliant. Like I want to bring my family over there, and the way he did it, where like we was in different environments, we was in different parts of the country. We took a plane over there. We took a cruise. We took every type of transportation that's there. You know what I'm saying? So like one part we was in a hotel, one part we was in a village, like at a real person's like family house. Another part we was on a cruise. So it was like we got like a good variety of like just we cruised on the Nile. So like we got a nice buffet of culture. You know what I'm saying? Which I love that. It wasn't like we was in one spot for too long where you get bored or whatever or got redundant. Like as soon as we kind of got comfortable, we was boom somewhere else, and I really love that. And yeah, I think that's for the most part, yeah, what you got to be prepared for.
All right, I appreciate it. Let me get the Maat clan up in here. You understand what I'm saying? The face of this tour. You see what I'm saying? They had all of this selfies going on. It was flossing on us over in hell. You know what I'm saying? Good living,
Oh
good life.
man. Oh man. Oh man.
Let me get the squad up in here real quick,
Oh my
and then
goodness.
I'll bring
Yeah, there you go.
everybody in, and I have some questions for everybody. You see what I'm saying? So we
Oh
got
really?
Behudet and Wasarit in the building. You understand? Introduce
Okay.
yourself. Tell us what was the plots, the plans, the strategy behind. Because y'all can be honest. it a little bit for y'all hit the trail. You understand what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yeah,
I was going
you want
through it a
all of
little
that.
bit. Break it
You
down.
want all the
Yeah, I want all
stuff.
that. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Because y'all hit your
exactly.
head for everybody, all the other Africans not hit their head. You understand? So they can get a blessing from y'all hitting y'all head. You know what I'm saying? So
That
what's
that.
going on?
Oh man, so I'd first like to say Hatepu to the bot out there, listening audience, and Dua Sanborn for allowing us to be on your platform. Dua to Nisu, Benu for introducing us to Henensu, and to introducing us to Brother Dawood on the line. And Dua to you for um, extending your friendship, and more so than that, becoming family. So, with that being said, trip was simply amazing. There's a lot that went into actually preparing ourselves for the trip. We weren't prepared when we found out we were going because we had began paying maybe about a year before. Yeah, a year before the trip, and we had ran into some some hiccups before that. Yeah, we had ran into some problems before that. So the first thing to do in preparing is to stick to the plan. That if you want to go and enjoy the experience, you have to pay for it, and it becomes in order to have the play, you got to pay. So stick to that like it's a regular bill, because it is, and it's well worth it. You have a treasure trove of experiences behind that, that's invaluable. But so we didn't do that, and so it was a lesson in that in itself of doing that, because it was not like we couldn't procrastinate it and put certain things to the side. So stick to the plan. Boy, tap me on the leg, so we don't need to get into all those details. But yes, stick to the plan. We got a little lick. We got a little lick that we was able to hit it off in one shot. Boom. So we still weren't prepared with the passports. And I'll let Miss Wasarit go ahead and
we
talk about
the passport process is very easy, but
very.
We procrastinated and waited to the last minute, so we did this whole rush service thing, and I would not recommend nobody doing that, because if you get all the information that you have to get your passport, you can take it to Atlanta yourself, and you can get your passport the same day.
Exactly. Or wherever you have to look for the location.
Well, I was talking about here in Georgia.
Yeah, well, if there's a location near you, you can take it up there and more than likely get it done the same day, as opposed to paying somebody to do the same thing that you can get off your behind and go to the place and do yourself, which would probably cost you, but my goodness,
$60. That's not what we
just so much less. But if you go ahead and look up the Expedient passport, you'll know exactly how much that is, and you'll see ×2. So, I'm just talking about that price ×2 plus some other stuff. So, past that, we get on the plane.
This was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Security. Oh, before we got on the plane, Atlanta has the tightest security I've ever seen in my life.
We went through 6 security checkpoints.
So be prepared. Please get there early. That's one of the things that I was wondering why Nisu was so adamant on us getting there like 3 hours early. That was right on time.
Yeah.
So please do not think that you have so much time when you're told to get there like what seems to be too early. So that's something to keep in mind. But after that, we got on and we came to
we went to Chicago, then we went to
Paris.
No, I went to Amsterdam. And then we went to Paris, and then we finally got to Cairo like that night.
Yeah,
and
the stops were cool. Amsterdam was a cool stop.
Paris was not. They raced
Paris. Oh yeah.
But when we got yeah, they raced it. When we got to Cairo though, it was like I don't know, it was like midnight or 1 o'clock. It was late, but it was so crunk.
It was bubbling out there when we got out there. You hear me? Oh my goodness, Cairo! I was in awe. Like I haven't seen. I mean, it was more busy than New York City, which was surprising to me. I did not know. Then I asked Nisa like how many people are here? He said it was like 18. I think he said 20 million. It was close like 18 million when we looked it up. 18 million people in that city. Oh my goodness, it was so much stuff going on, and we got there late, and we didn't go there. We could have went out.
But when we got there, I mean the hotel was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Grand Royal Hotel was really nice rooms and stuff. The staff is awesome, really nice people. And I think we went out, the next day, just out shopping and stuff like that. And I think my favorite part of the trip was going to Aswan because we just felt like we were at home in Aswan. The people there,
yeah,
they say same color, same color. My blood, you got my blood.
It was cool. It's cool. And it's not just people who are trying to sell to you either. It's just a thing of recognition. They see us. Yeah. They know they can tell that you're not from there by the way you dress. My wife didn't have a head covering, so that was evident to them. So, they were looking at it, but they still was acknowledging the, same brother, same fella, and all that. And it was just a feeling of warmth from the people, man. The hotel out there, well,
that was in no, we stayed in
that's in Aswan, yeah. We stayed in the guest house, right? The guest house out there was lovely, man. Oh man, it's like a building. You go inside, right? When you go inside the door, you're in an outer court with lounge chairs and everything like that. And they got rooms, and then they got an upstairs balcony with some rooms on the side where you can just look out on the what is that? The Aswan.
Oh, that was the Nile.
That was the Nile.
Oh, that was the
Nile.
Yeah. It was really beautiful. Like,
but you could just look out, and the scenery was so magnificent. The whole scenery, the whole trip was magnificent. I mean, pictures. I mean, they'll leave you, in wonder. But in life, real life, it's in awe. Your breath. It's so phenomenal to see just the landmass. The way the people are interacting with each other in certain areas. Cairo, you're going to get like New York, Atlanta type of vibe with the people just hustling and bustling. But, once you left that, the people there everywhere else was just straight up love. You hear me? I was shocked because, there's been some conversations about how, Africans don't see us as brothers, but experience the total opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got plenty of pictures and stuff like that.
Stranded.
But we didn't post it,
we got stranded.
We got mad love. Dawood got the most love, but we got mad love too. You know what I'm saying? It was the rooms, let's get back to the hotel. Not the hotel, I'm talking about. Oh, you want to ask him? Because I was gonna go into detail about the whole thing from spot to spot.
How they doing? We got other people on here. You see what I'm saying?
I don't want to hog it. But let me just tell you, man. I got so much to say about it because it was just so fly, man. I mean, it was like nothing I've ever experienced in my life.
But you will have that time.
Something years, man.
We do have in the building. We do have in the building the Queen Mother of Henensu. The Maat Nesu were respect. So I definitely want to give her opportunity, our Queen Mother to speak, and then I bring everybody in the fashion, and then I just ask y'all some questions to get everybody's feedback. So the suit.
Yes, sir.
You know, I back right out of my lane. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, introduce.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, without any further ado, want to introduce my wife, my teammate. You know what I mean,
Right.
and the I say 1/3 of the adults of the Benu clan. Marina Turk, Secretary Benu. Um, I asked that she join us on here because she actually went with me in July, and we didn't have a chance to do a recap for July. So I asked that she come on here to share her experience because shows a totally different perspective and
Mm.
experience just from her experience altogether. And you know, you know, definitely it's an honor and a privilege to have on here to share in this reunion and this recap. So without any further ado, Henensu Wasarit, Marina Turt, Secretary Benu. That's Mary Benu, y'all. That's a pull.
Very been
Hatefu, Queen
get
Mother.
it.
Oh, y'all so sweet. What's going on?
That's a pool. Queen Mother, can you share your experiences from you? You know, I don't know how much of the conversation that you heard. I know you had some technical difficulties. Can you share your experiences going initially, like preparation and things of that nature, and then kind of like a brief overview of your experience?
Ooh, where do I even start? I'll say, I guess mentally, I have been preparing at least partially, for what is this, the eighth year, seventh year? Um,
Mm.
um, I'm sorry, y'all.
Take your time.
Doing
Take your time.
some domestic stuff, but every time that Aankhu had made the trip, usually I would stay back home to handle the home front. And so it was, yeah, it was mind blowing. It was a privilege that I was able to make it for the July trip, this past July. And it was only, only by, you know, the grace of the Abide, by the grace of my family. And so going into it, like I felt like I was doing it for the mamas who don't to take a vacation. Um, but yeah, like he had told me beforehand. He'll tell everybody, you gotta make sure that you're physically ready to make the trip because it's a whole lot of walking. Um, and I'm pretty. I try to keep myself in good shape. I try to work out once a week. But all that being said, that trip wasn't no joke. The heat, the heat alone, like averaging about 115, 120. Anybody that has not experienced it, there's no way you could prepare for the heat. And it's the type of heat where in certain parts it was extremely humid, like when we went into some of the temples. And most of the time it was almost like the heat was like beating you, punching you in the top of your head. So yeah, that was just crazy. Like I remember, because it's Islamic territory. You know, you have to make sure that when you go out, you're covered. The men cannot wear shorts outside of, you know, the cruise ships and some of the tourist spots. Um, and for women, like you can't wear anything that is too revealing, no tank tops or spaghetti straps or anything like that. So it's just nonsensical because with the heat, you want to wear, you know, nothing for real, for real. But yeah, I went out there with some jeans, y'all. I don't know what I was on. Went out there with some jeans most of the time, and I felt like I was in an oven walking. So there was some places where I kind of stayed back just to recoup and deal with the exhaustion because this is a full trip, like a full package. I mean, you'll have to go a couple of times just to get the entirety of everything that's being offered. Um, but yeah, that heat, y'all, is like an oven. But the trying to think, just once we got there, you know, like everybody said, Cairo is a spot that's not unlike New York for real, for real. It was a two first for me, because we actually flew out of New York, and that was my first time in New York. And then, you know, it's my first time actually stepping foot in Kemet. So I yeah, just mind blown. Cairo is very fast paced. It's very congested. Um, you'll see a lot of homeless folk. Um, there were a lot of homeless children as well, and somebody had explained to us later on that you know, a lot of those children come from out of uh, typically I'll say that when folks get divorced over there, the divorce rate is not high, not as high as it is over here. But it's higher in Cairo than it is in other parts of the country. And so I think a lot of that has to do with just Cairo being what it is heavily influenced by Western culture more so than the other parts of the country. And you know, you have a lot of kids who come from, you know, when people get married, they somebody was explaining to us that some of the kids are not welcomed from previous relationships into the new relationship, and so they're kind of discarded and put on the streets. Um, so that was kind of difficult to see as a mother, but also the driving. I don't know if anybody talked about the driving yet,
Oh yeah.
but oh my God, like um, my life flashed before my eyes a couple of times in the car. Like it's like there are no street lights, there are no signs. It's like an organism, the way that the traffic flows. Like I don't know if y'all got any double dutchers on the line, but this is the only thing I can think to compare it to. Like, you know, when them ropes are swinging and you waiting your turn to jump in and you got to get your rhythm right, because if you don't, you'll jump in and get tangled in the ropes. Well, that's pretty much what this thing was like. Like the cars, it's a steady flow of traffic. I don't know if it ever stops. And so when you're trying to get in there, you just gotta, I don't know, you gotta turn on some animal instinct and just figure out how to get in there. But and them folk was doing it. I know I couldn't do it. And I don't know how many folks from over here could do do it safely. Um, but it's like that was eye-opening to me too, because it's almost like here we're so dependent on signs to do our work for us, to do the driving and everything. The stoplights, like it's not a is not a thing where we're really awake sometimes when we're driving. But there you have to be awake. You got to have all your wits about you. And so it's ironic that it's almost like they didn't tend to get into too many accidents. Like, we had seen maybe once or twice where somebody had broke off somebody's mirror, but just the way that they I'm surprised it wasn't worse than that. And like people will be driving with other folk passengers like standing on the bumper of the car. It's crazy. Like, and with as many people as that are moving in that flow, as many cars is on the road, and as many with all the things that are going on, it's crazy that nothing serious happened. But so that was Cairo. I didn't see much here for Cairo. It was almost, it was overwhelming to me. I come from South, so appreciate cities for the culture that they provide, but I like to interact. I like to, I like family life, and you don't get that in as big of a city as Cairo. But the pyramids, I mean, I know that the first 2 or 3 days I was just taken aback, dealing with the jet lag and just being in a new place, being in the spot, the seven wonders, one of the seven wonders of the world, like taking all of that in. It took me about 3 days to get acclimated, and those 3 days were jam packed. So I didn't really have that time to just process until I got back stateside. Even right now, like I'm still processing. Uh, what else? What else? Oh, that sun, y'all. I know I talked about the heat, but the sun, like it's so bright to where like it's almost, it bleaches everything. But if your eyes aren't accustomed to it, it's just like whoa. Like it's like there's nothing that you can think of to compare it to if you haven't experienced it. It's just you gotta have glasses, like you gotta have glasses. And I did not bring a hat because I was just trying to think of everything that I needed, and I forgot that one item, but I did remember my sunglasses, so I was happy for that. Once we got to Edfu, Luxor was beautiful. Like it's almost like the further south we got into the country, it was like a warm up from going to Cairo to Luxor. Like it was much more green in Luxor. I enjoyed that. Talking to one of the guides there, it mentioned how he wanted to get a home in Luxor because he liked greenery, and I could get with him on that. Like You're not gonna see too many trees in Cairo. Um, Luxor, like just seeing the Hopi, like in Cairo, it was kind of dirty,
Yeah.
polluted. Just other folk there. So is not the same water you're looking at when you go to Luxor and when you get to Aswan. Oh my God. Um, Edfu, like that was probably I loved Aswan, but Edfu was another favorite spot for me. Um, because I love the fact that it was vibrant. Like we got there at nighttime, and so um, everybody was out. It's hot as hell during the day. So most of the time, folks come out at night. You're not gonna see a whole lot of people during the day. But come nighttime, that's when everybody waking up. And Edfu was um
Good man.
a lot of young folks at Edfu. That's where I really started to see faces that looked like mine, like and seeing, some of the brothers walking out with like front and seeing Efu is getting closer to that border between Sudan and Egypt. So you'll see a lot more uh, folks who are phenotypically Nubian, like just that beautiful melanin. And that part was beautiful for me. Like when you connect with somebody who, you have that mutual recognition, like this is family, and your eyes meet, and like there's just that I don't know, that smile and that appreciation and that authentic love. Like yes, like a mutual recognition is something that I have not experienced in the States. Like um and I grew up in a place that was predominantly Wazungu, so the few folks that you try to connect with any melanin that crossed through there, but it was not the same, like the vibe that you get from somebody that sees you as family, like instead of just another, I don't know, another person that's crossing your path or whatnot. um that was that was something to me. But Edfu was beautiful, I think, too, because in Cairo, you did hear a lot of folk that spoke English, but most of the folk spoke Arabic. Um, Edfu, because it was folk who were young, most of them speak English, so we were able to to talk to the folks around us without having to get an interpreter. Um, and it's that city has so much swag. Like I cannot explain it. Like it's just everybody got they music bumping, and I mean, Edfu was beautiful. I loved Edfu. It's like New Orleans. It's like I don't know any hood spot. Like it was just I loved Edfu. Um, Aswan was family. Like I mean, we got invited to tea everywhere we went in Aswan. Um, I'm trying to think, like it was there you really, really got to see, you know, melanin. Um, and I almost in Edfu. I forgot while we had gone to see, I think it was the temple of Behudet. We had gotten off, we were in the little horse and buggy, and we had got off at our site, and I'm looking somewhere over by the site, and the vendors, they flock to the buggies, and wherever they see an opportunity to make money, wherever the tourists are, they're gonna run. So I got caught completely off guard when this beautiful little brown baby slaps a bracelet on my wrist, and I'm not looking. I turn my head, and she got her hand out for $5. And I'm like, I got, hypnotized by this beautiful little chocolate drop. And when she, she's trying to hustle, she's trying to make that money, because it's an economically depressed territory. So everybody is trying to make ends meet. The grandmamas, the mamas, the babies. If you ain't got your wits about you going in, you gonna get got. So I think I might have had like just one pound on me, $1. And I told her I would give it to her when I came out of the site, because we had to hustle and get in. Once we got out, and I'm trying to process everything that happened in the temple, and all the wisdom that Aankhu was sharing with us. I had to wake myself up, because I'm like, okay, I told this baby I'm gonna give her $1, so I pulled $1 out. She done come up on the prices for me. She said, "Oh, it's 10 pounds, 10 pounds." So I'm like, yeah, baby, you beautiful and all, but I'm gonna give you this bracelet back, and you can keep the $1. And I kept it moving. But after that, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. I that part was the culture shock. That's where I experienced the most culture shock, because when is your folk, and it's people that look like you, who are are just trying to take care of they family. It's difficult to say no, but you got to do it, because if not, they gonna take you for your house and your home. So after a while, I made sure I got good with the leshikrin, like got good with saying no and just keep it moving. Aswan, I really had to be good at that, because the market is huge there, and you're gonna see stuff that you want. uh, so it's good to pack another suitcase, just because you gonna bring home something. Um, but yeah, eventually you got to know when to close your purse up, uh, or else you're just gonna be stranded. But I think out of all of it, Aswan really, that's when we got to sit down and kind of share our experiences amongst the crew that came, amongst the family that came, and we were kind of reflecting on everything. And that's when everybody was feeling like, I could so live here, because they are gonna roll out the red carpet for you in Aswan, especially. They're eager to connect with, you know, states, those of us who are states. And then we got to, share some of, the history, because one of the things that was most mind blowing to me was a lot of the people there don't understand the history of why we are here in the U.S. They think, a lot of them think that uh, our ancestors came over here on some vacation to. They didn't recognize that no, we were enslaved. Um, and there's a lot of parallels when we were talking in our history. Their Arabs run their school. The Nubians, a lot of the young ones do not speak their language. They don't know their language because they were forced to learn Arabic in school. So, um, it's eye opening. It's sad, but uh, it's it's something where when you see it coming coming from this side of the water, um, it's a lot of wisdom that we have to offer them in the sense of um, recognizing a devil when we see a devil and not um, choosing not to engage in anything with them. There's a certain innocence that they have that um, it prevents them from seeing that. But that innocence is something that we've been robbed of. You know, we went into Elephantine into one of the homes, and I'm talking about these folk. They live in the Jacks, and they have nothing. A lot of them, but they have everything because like they're so alive and so happy. Um, and it's something where that authentic happiness, like I think a lot of us lack. Um, so that's something that I would like for more folk to come just to be able to sit with the elders, like and just chat with the folk and vibe on that. Um, Sitting with the elders and being able to sit and talk to some of the women, that was the most rewarding part. I was going in, I had my mind made up. I said I want to sit with and talk with some of the sisters. And when I had, requested through Aunt Benu, um, to one of the elders if we could sit and kind of talk uh, to the sisters, it was kind of weird. Like they were reluctant to uh, meet that request, but we
You ain't
did.
talking to my wife.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. We did get to sit and talk. It was different because we had to sit and talk amongst the men, um, and they kind of were cock blocking. Some of the things that the women were sharing in terms of their spiritual practices, their like the juju. We kind of some of the men were kind of shutting them down and not letting them speak and tell everything. Um, so my hope is that I'll be able to go multiple times and build a relationship with these sisters. And some of that stuff will come up in just conversation. But they shared with me what they could. They shared with me a lot of the language. I had me and the sister Justice. We had recorded some of the audio, so um, eventually we're going to do something with that because that going forward, that's I think a key to building a relationship is for us to learn that language. It's a, like I said, it's a dying language, and the youth don't speak it. So um, I think that that is a. I would like to see that exchange for us to learn, um, and offer that as a a viable tool to be able to network with these with family back and stateside. But yeah, I'm sure that I've talked long enough. uh, if something else, comes in, we'll be talking about this for forever. Like it was just so much. It was just so much. But I'll go ahead and give the floor to the rest of the Abide.
Why, Queen Mother? So we got the family, and Queen Mother hit on right exactly where I wanted to go next, because I heard through the grapevine out here in these streets. I had heard through the grapevine that Nile Valley culture and the culture of the Nile Valley, the language, the culture, is dead. You understand what I'm saying? So as practitioners hitting the ground, you know, can we dispel some of those myths and misinformation that is out here floating around? So, anybody? I know we had the squad with us. What's going
Yeah. Well,
on?
yeah. I say,
I need to know what's going on out here.
yeah. I say I'm gonna let the rest of the family kind of go in and share a piece on that. Cause you know of course I feel a way about it. But let's before I get on my soapbox, let's let the rest of the family deal with it.
All right. Well, excuse me.
Brother Dawood. Okay. There you go. There you go. There you go. Wagwan.
Oh, whole lot of nothing, a little bit of everything, brother. Um, well, as far as the question, um, we got to look at what Nile Valley culture is. It's a way of life, and people addressing Nile Valley culture. First of all, from a subjective point of view, and it's evident by the way that they're making certain statements. Like when you address a culture, whether linguistically or anthropologically, you're not going to be making putting unscientific terms attached to your observations, like spooky and a whole host of other statements that just don't line up with anything you would read outside of the community, or what we would call the conscious community. From regardless if it's a European scholar or an African scholar, they approach it with much more respect, and that's the thing that's missing when we're talking about the culture of the Nile Valley. It's a lack of respect, and so you approach it with your personal views without anything to back it other than those who share the views. So I think that's a big problem. If we're going to demonstrate that the Nile Valley culture is dead, then we have to present evidence to the fact. And, my personal attestation is that it's not dead, because I am living the culture, daily. When you're looking at the Nile Valley culture, they acknowledge Neter as the only being in existence, period. And Neter has met various forms of expression, which have form and function, which we would call forces of nature, that are living forces that you are experiencing right now as we talk. So The statement about the culture being dead, when there are those of us who acknowledge the living forces of nature and call them by the names of our ancestors of the Nile Valley, that's a statement that is prejudicial, and it's lacking any evidence to the contrary, because those who are making these statements are not willing to dialogue with those of us who acknowledge that it is a living tradition and that these are living forces, and they parrot agendas from the sideline instead of having a dialogue about it, you know, and they present their arguments and are willing to be challenged on it. So that's my take, you know, just a little bit of it, but there's just a lot of foolishness and what we call edutainment going on, where it's like more of a, you know, a battle rap type of thing. Instead, it's a scholarship type of thing, a battle of scholarship, and that's not what scholarship is about. It's supposed to be addressing those who you're addressing with the information, instead of bashing them and giving your subjectively objective views. That's just my take. Yeah, and you don't ever see their family.
Uh-oh.
Hey, oh, there you go, there you go.
You know, if you want to talk about the Nile Valley and their religion, you know, the word religion is not in there anywhere in most traditions. However, we in Henensu, we acknowledge that our religion is family, and you know that family extends into the various forms of the Neteru. So I digress on that, and I'll pass the mic on.
Well, let me ask you a quick follow-on question, you know, for Nesu score 100.
Definitely.
How has travel for you and, you know, for your family? I know y'all are avid practitioners. How has traveling to the place, traveling to the region, going on this tour, how has it impacted your practice or your connection, you know, this actual culture that you're living?
I would say it's impacted it more on a more personal level. You know, it's a different thing being the one reading about, you know, the place that you are practicing the tradition from, and actually going there and experiencing the people that are there, and some of the sites and text that you're seeing on the walls that you don't necessarily have access to. It kind of, it puts a fire in you. You know, it definitely makes you want to know more. It makes you want to know more about the language. It makes you want to know more about the Neteru. You know, there were Neteru. There were names on there that we did not even recognize or had not to even seen in any text. You know, that we did. You know, that to date. You know, I think Nisu can attest to that, and that was something that was amazing to me. And it actually had me writing my journal for the first time in years. You know, when the first night, because I was just so taken away by the experience itself, this landing and, you know, getting off the plane and stepping foot on the continent for the first time. It definitely makes me want to go back. It makes me want to extend more of a familial vibe with those who I'm interacting with, like the people who were in the Nile Valley that we had encountered. It's more of I feel more of a need to be closer to family. when I was out there, just the experience, I was telling my wife that they practice group economics out there, and that to me is phenomenal, because the taxi driver that we'll take, he got family over at a museum or at a art gallery that he'll call up and try to get a discount for us, and they try to, and then that person has somebody over here at a perfume factory or at different spots that they taking us to. And I was just in awe at the family, helping each other eat. To me, that's very spiritual. That's what it's about, making sure that your family is successful. And so it definitely reinstilled a fervor to, remember the family, to bring the family back together, even those family members that, I might have grievances with, but I could still work with them, because there was instances where you'd see people, arguing with each other, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it was love, and that was very powerful to me. And these types of things are the things that are practice, not just what we would call ritual. That is the things we do to work with the various forces of nature that are doing around us at all times. Some might call it, psyche, or whatever the term they want to use, but basically that experience with those people to me was practice of my spirituality. And it was tested a few times too, but I don't want to get into that. But definitely, it was a learning experience, and it made me look at myself in different ways, and my relationship to the world, because this is a different part of the world, and even when I was in Amsterdam and Paris, that was different experiences with the different types of people. And these, like, you can have, I was told a while ago, you can have the most divine experience on the mountaintop, but if you can't practice it in the marketplace, then it means nothing. And so those lessons were coming to mind when I would have interactions and trying to deal with the different personality types, like in Cairo and even, some instances where, you might have a person here or there that, is, just say, like family, but not family. But I'm gonna wrap it up, because my wife, like, you long-winded. And so that my experience with that in relation to the spirituality, it's definitely gotten me, to calm down a lot and take life more relaxed, because the people there, even though it's a hustle and bustle, they have a more relaxed vibe, and it's not to be so wound up.
Behudet found some chill. Whoa.
Some what?
You found some chill?
I found some chill, bro.
Hey, that's enough reason to go right there for everybody who y'all don't understand this man right here, my twin brother. You understand? Ain't no chill. You found some chill.
Yes, sir.
Got something to add before we get to the soukers? I know you about to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yo, Daoud finna go in.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we hear you. We hear you. We hear you.
Okay. What's
All eyes on
the question? Because
you.
the mic was saying the mic was out. Saying when the mic was out.
How has the travel influenced, your connection to this particular culture and language? You said I'm saying going actually to the region, things like that. How has that helped you as a practitioner in this particular culture?
Oh, it's been tremendous. Like one thing, Mr. Benu has said earlier, we have made like a lot of connections, and it just inspired like a lot of further just business and going over there and wanting to connect with the continent more. Seeing how like his wife said earlier, how we can help them. You know what I'm saying? Like how they can help us connect with our history, and how we could help them in modern time, as far as like maybe economically reach that we do have here as being in America. You know what I'm saying? And me and Benu, we talked about that while we was over there. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing like what we could do with our money over here and bringing it back over there, cutting the middleman or the white man out and just doing it ourselves. But just getting this, like I tell, like I have to go back many times because like I haven't seen enough. You know what I'm saying? But the little bit that I did, like I always been fascinated by it. But when you see it in person, when you see like the scale of some of these temples and the detail of the artwork, of the spirituality, the Benu was breaking a lot of the stuff down, and I didn't understand before, and seeing how like it makes sense, and it was like, oh wow, that makes like that's common sense, you know what I'm saying? And it's some of the stuff that like I never even thought about. It's giving me a better outlook on life. Like I said, I'm ready to bring my family over there like tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I already spoke to like everybody about it, like how we're gonna do it, and why we should do it, and just living my life going forward, how to connect that into everything I do. You know what I'm saying? Business, creativity, my everyday life, just connecting that culture, the language, the spirituality to my everyday being. And I wouldn't have got that without actually going over there and seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes from a book, when you hear it, word of mouth, it's different when you seeing the whole world go over there, glorifying and looking at Black people, gods, as greatness, and we over here like we're in America waiting for the first Black president, waiting for the first Black person on the dollar bill, waiting for the first Black. Soon as I got over there, I seen a Black man on a dollar bill. I seen a Black person on the airplane, like you know what I'm saying, Brother Haru. You know what I'm saying? I seen it was like this ain't new. Like it's been done, but we live in a bubble where it hasn't been done. You know what I'm saying? So to get out of that, it's like when people say like Obama inspired a lot of people to give the like oh, now that he became president, like now I can see myself being as president, right? But when you see like people with these Perus and these deities that's been doing it before, you like this ain't new. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you can do this. Like as a woman, like people waiting for the first woman president, right? We've been had female leaders, so like just knowing that is like, what are you waiting for? Like you don't need to wait for some like it's been done already. Like you know what I'm saying? Like and she was Black and he was Black. Like we don't so just seeing that is like we could like fast forward to like, yo, stop being lazy, stop finding excuses, do it now because it's been done. You just gotta connect with the people who did it so you can know you could do it. And going over there shows you that. You know what I'm saying? So we over here like all that waiting for Harriet Tubman to get on a $20 bill. Like, hold on a second. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on a second. And shout out to Behudet. I owe Behudet like 1,000. Send me your PayPal because I got you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, send me your PayPal, brother. I got you.
I
Look,
don't know what
you know
you're
what I'm saying?
talking
We
about,
coming over
fam.
there like
Yo, fam.
we've been
Fam.
seeing
Oh, yeah,
Black people
yo,
on the
we
money.
good.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
No
This ain't
doubt.
new. You know what I'm saying? This is not new. Like these are our people right here. You know what I'm saying?
No,
These
see
are
that?
all our people right here.
That water spilling.
So we over here in America looking crazy. Where my people at? Oh yeah, that's my brother. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like this is Black people on the money. We've been had that already. This is not new. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing that and like when I put the money back, everybody's like, "That's real." I'm like, "Yeah, it's real." You know what I'm saying? Like just for like we was asking one of our drivers, brother Benu, like, "Who's this right here?" Whatever. I forgot the guy's name, but he was like a big time scribe, like writer, who real serious. So, like when
That's
they
that's
can acknowledge
Patahotep.
us, Patahutet.
Yes, sir.
All right. So like when you have like this Arab country or like these people, like when they could see us as greatness and uh, see like that the stuff that we had, the first civilization written down, et cetera, whatever, whatever, and we don't even know nothing about it. It's kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? So as every black person definitely needs to make this trip. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes no sense for you not to know who these people are, that these people even existed. And because what they're doing is like you have like white people, other people who control civilizations, their own whatever. They're going over there getting information and creating their own. You know what I'm saying? So it's like and then spinning it back to you. So we need to go over there so we can say, oh, let me apply that to my life and move and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And continue it. So yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go and you gotta go back. You gotta go many times. You gotta know the history, and you gotta go and create a future over there too. You gotta go connect with your people. Like you said, like some of the places are very economically is down. You know what I'm saying? But that could be an opportunity for you to help your brothers and do good business with them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have an issue in America where it's like, I can't get property in America because it's too high, or I can't do a business over here because of this red tape or whatever the case is, you can go over there and do it. You know what I'm saying? So like, um, it's sometimes it's sad, whatever, where you see certain people living a different way than you're used to, whatever. But at the same time, that's an opportunity for you to help, for you to step in, and for you to make a change. You know what I'm saying? So that is it's been in my mind since before I even left. You know what I'm saying? Like the first couple of nights, I'm sitting there like, yo, what can we do? What can I do? How can we do it? And I've been on it ever since.
Well, I tell you.
Do I know that?
So
All right. Yo. So,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you know what I mean? Like I say, just again, when talking about how traveling there has impacted practice of the tradition, etc. So on. Like I said, this was like my seventh time going this past December. But it's
Mm,
something that you know we noticed immediately. From my very first time going, and it's just been enriched and deepened. Um, every time since. And before going over there, I was under the impression that our people were no longer there. Um, you know what I mean? Under the impression that I was going there to see the remnants of ancient Kemet, but where I'm going today is the Arab Republic of Egypt. And as soon as you get off the plane there, that type of notion, that perspective that you have going in is challenged immediately once you get off the plane and everybody's calling you, brother, cousin, uh son of my father's brother, etc. So on. That's challenged immediately. They're walking up to you, yo, same face, same blood, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Etc. So on. So, that whole notion, to put the rest, and then you see Africans throughout the country, but as Marie pointed out a little earlier, like you have to travel through the country. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people in Cairo, in the Cairo, Giza area and whatnot. But if you only go to Cairo, if you only go, you only stay in the north of the country or what's called Lower Kemet, and you never travel to the south to Upper Kemet, right? You understand the culture and the tradition, and the history and whatnot. You know why I say it that way. But if you don't travel through the country, you're not going to get those experiences. And then, if you're going with a company or a group that, their focus for the tour is solely on dealing with the sites, right? And they don't actually take you amongst the people to deal with the people. We don't just go and look at the sites. It might pass by the locals, what I'm saying, vendors, and pass by the village, to, the market and things of that nature. Like, no, we actually go and we break bread with them. We go and we live amongst them. We go and stay in the village. You know what I mean? So, when, they're talking about being in the village, being in these people's homes, eating with them, breaking bread with them, smoking with them, whatever, right? This is something that we do, real time. So this is, you know what I mean? And the cultural unity and that recognition of kinship, it happens immediately. You know, in how I say, really throughout the country, but especially in in Nubia, in Aswan, you know what I mean? They eat okra, they eat roasted and sauteed okra with tomatoes the same way we do it down here in New Orleans. You know what I mean? And they eat it every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when Shaban, my elder, he showed me the scar in the palm of his hand from where, during ritual ceremony, his parents, put the medicine in his hand, you know what I mean, to instill certain gifts and protections and whatnot, in him, right? And then I showed him the scar, where the medicine was put in my shoulder. It's like, yo, we truly are family, blah 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 blah, right? We've been doing the same thing, and to this very day, they do things there that African people do all around the world, and we even do it, to this very day. That's something Dawood kept pointing out this past trip. Was like, yo, we do the same things. They do the same things that we do here. And then we can find images on the walls of them doing these exact same things that we do to this very day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so when people say the culture is dead, they're definitely speaking from an uninformed perspective. When people look at when people talk about the language is dead, like, yo, you're not going, talking to these folk. The Nubians got their own language that is genetically related to the Madunitel language. And this is something that they speak that the rest of the country, doesn't speak. You know what I mean? And this language, you know, like when you're talking about the Madunitel language, there's too much work being done by our scholars showing that, this language has, relationship, is kin to languages going all throughout the continent of Africa. So, if language is the storehouse or the treasure trove of a people's culture, how can it be dead? Why is it that we see
Mm.
Africans from the beginning in the Nile Valley doing the same thing to this very day? You see Africans, throughout the continent. You see Africans in West Africa. You see Africans in Central Africa doing the same thing to this very day. You even see some of the same deities in the Nile Valley being venerated throughout the continent and the diaspora by the same name with the same function in the cosmology and whatnot. You see the same cosmologies, you know what I'm saying, beginning in the Nile Valley, going into the Sudan, going into Mali and Senegambia, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, why do you see this? And then you have people that wanna try and due to their ignorance, following the negative reaction to oppression of some of our ancestors in the West, and some of the bigotry of Western scholars, in the colonial times, what's called the quote unquote Kemetic hypothesis, right? They want to get extreme and say our people have absolutely no connection to the Nile Valley. Yeah, and they want to write off all of the oral tradition of African people in West Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and East Africa. You know what I mean? Saying that their ancestors came from the Nile Valley. Who the hell are you? Someone unlearned, someone unstudied, someone that ain't never been past your mama's block. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to get ill and just go on one, right? But you know what I mean? I want to say you gotta travel. There's too much work being done, and that has been done. You know what I mean? And you wanna be missionaries for scientism and try to use DNA, as your sword of truth, when you don't even understand what it is that you're wielding. If you're not a scientist, because a true scientist would never say the dumb shit that y'all say. You know what I mean? Just to be honest. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand the science in totality, right, and you don't understand the limitations of the algorithms and how each test has its own set of limitations, you know what I mean? And how damn near none of them actually measure the whole scope of your genome, but you want to use it to differentiate yourself from other Africans and to write off your ancestors and their oral traditions. You know what I mean? You're making a grave mistake. You know what I'm saying? But for folk that actually travel, not just to the Nile Valley, but actually travel amongst other African traditional circles and actually engage the culture and the traditions, we can see the commonalities or the connection and kinship in language, in cosmology, and in ritual motif and customs. We do the field research, right? And that's important. You know what I mean? And more than anything, that is once again my purpose for going, right? Is to show the cultural continuity and kinship amongst African people throughout the world. So yeah, we begin in the Nile Valley, right? But we going to Ghana, we going to Benin, we going to Togo, we going to Senegal, we going to Cameroon. You know what I mean? And we doing the research and we making the connections. This is about tying the knot, not about bringing out your goddamn scissors trying to sever the ties. You know what I'm saying? And shit on the work and the scholarship of our great warrior scholars here. You know what I mean? And what they did to make that connection and to tie that knot. You want to untie the knot and sever the tie because of your damn ignorance. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling some kind of way, so let me cool off, right? Let me cool off. You know what I'm saying? Let me cool off, right? So I want to say this. Don't listen to the babble and the riffraff, folk that ain't never been nowhere and ain't never did nothing. You know what I'm saying? Go and see it for yourself. You know what I mean? Go for yourself, right? And then go to West Africa. Oh, it don't even matter, you know what I'm saying, in which direction you start. Start in West Africa, start in Central Africa, start in Southern Africa, and then follow the threads. You know what I mean? Follow the threads, and I guarantee you, everywhere you go, you're gonna see that continuity and that kinship. And you're gonna see stuff that you do to this very day, everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, there are things that we do in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? That's done in Benin, that's done in Cameroon, that's done in Yorubaland. You know what I'm saying? That's done in Senegal, and that's done. You know what I'm saying? Up in Georgia, done in South Carolina, done in Florida, done. You know what I'm saying? In the Caribbean, done in Brazil. You know what I'm saying? That you see on the walls in the temples of Kemet, in the temples of Nubia, in the Sudan. And there are things that they do that they've retained in spite of their interaction with foreigners. You know what I'm saying? And the imposition of foreign religion. You know what I'm saying? Because of certain conquerors coming, there are things that they retain. You know what I'm saying? That they still do. They practice what's called a syncretism. You know what I'm saying? A syncretic expression of whatever their foreigners brought, so that they can maintain the customs and the traditions that they've always held to. You know what I mean? But if you don't never go nowhere, you don't never talk to nobody, right? And you believe, like, if you looking at the news and the images of quote unquote Egypt, and all they showing you is Cairo and Alexandria, you fall for it, and you believe that your people ain't there. You know what I'm saying? You believe you don't have no connection to them folk, but you're not going talking and learning from the czar practitioners. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to the village, you know what I'm saying, and sitting with the elders, right? And learning the customs and whatnot that they retain, and the rituals that they perform, and how they venerate the Neteru and their ancestors to this very day, performing rituals at the Nile, etc. So on. I mean, like I said, I got a lot of rap for y'all, but I'm not gonna waste too much time on it. Yo, I want to say again, if you want to have a full, rich, and authentic experience of the Nile Valley, you know what I'm saying, and you don't want something that's just topical and Tory, you know what I'm saying, touristy, I should say. We make a pilgrimage, we go there, we make links, we make connections, right? We start businesses, right? We engage in partnerships. You know what I mean? And this is something that we intend to do with every trip that we do throughout the continent, right? When we go to West Africa and we do Ghana, Benin, and Togo, you know what I'm saying, all in one go, right? We're gonna connect with the people there. You know what I'm saying? And deal with the locals, deal with the families, deal with the villages. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about these folk. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about these other folk and what they talking about and what they trying to say. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you what I've seen. I can tell you what I've experienced. I can tell you as a curator of African culture and traditions. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that, no matter where you go, most of the folk throughout the continent gonna be talking that dumb stuff y'all talking. So, you know what I mean? It has greatly enriched my practice of the tradition. Many times that I've been blessed to go, and I will that, for the family out there that's real, recognize real, and that when y'all decide to go, you go with the real, right? And you know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna say about it. If you just reading about this from books, and you just looking at pictures, you know what I'm saying, and you just reading damn science journals and outdated linguistic journals, you know what I'm saying, that that you don't understand, right? That you're reading from the perspective of a damn fanboy, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you are solely looking at it from that perspective, then your perspective is skewed. But if you're trying to have a holistic perspective, you got to do more than just engage books and pictures and read journals that you barely understand. You know what I mean? So, that's my piece on there. You know what I'm saying? Cool Kemet tour. 2020 is coming up. We'll be gone in July, okay, and again in December. And if you're interested in joining us, the July trip is 15 days, okay. The December trip is 7 days, okay. If you are interested in joining us for the tour, you can visit www.henensu, that's HENENSU.com, henensu.com, right? And on there you'll see the link for Kukim travel tours, etc. So on. You click on that link and you find the information, the itinerary, registration form, etc. So on. You know what I mean? It's important to go. They are doing a lot of quote unquote artistic restorations, right? And there are certain things that that I saw 7 years ago, right? That I don't see now, right? Or my first 7 trips, right? On my first trip and second trip, there are things that I saw that I don't see now. You know what I mean? There's some images that have been shifted. You go there every year that I've gone, I've seen them scraping, I've seen them filing, and then going back over drawing with pencils. You know what I'm saying? And then painting where they draw from pictures and whatnot. Who's to say that those images won't look a little less African? You know what I'm saying? Or a whole lot less African. You know what I'm saying? If you were to go now or the next time you go. So if you want to go, it's important that you go. It's important that you go and see for yourself. And I think that's very critical. And man, like I said, we have a good time, man. You know what I mean? We have a good time. So, you're traveling with family and you're traveling with folk that actually got family over there that have spent years establishing those relationships and aren't afraid to go beyond the tour companies and to deal directly with the people. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. You can come with us, visit the website. That's Cool Kim Kemet tour. Not the goddamn Ku Klux Klan tour like some like I seen one joker say in the chat in the YouTube comments, you know what I'm saying? That was cute. But yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it's the Black Light tour. You know what I'm saying? It's the complete, what I'm saying, light being shown on Kemet. You know what I'm saying? And showing, bringing out the African cultural continuity and kinship, not severing ties on some damn Berlin Conference shit. Some science DNA Berlin Conference shit. I That's all I got to say about it, yo.
Yeah, brother. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. We about to go from the Nile Valley to the west side of Ghana. I got my sister coming on from Ghana. She about to drop some jewels and some gems. Dua to the Abba for coming through. Everybody who came through and shared them jewels. Brother Daoud, my Queen Mother
Thank you.
Marie.
Thank you.
The Maat clan up in here. You know what I'm saying? Um, Definitely got to do a part two. Because I heard some stuff on the end. You know, uh, in the interest of time, we definitely going to do a part two, a run back. We need to run back. You understand what I'm saying? We need to run back.
Yo, for sure. Yo, Bond, real quick, give Dawood a moment to promote his work. Brother has published work. He's written
Uh,
books. Talk a little bit about your work and what you do, bro.
I appreciate that, Benu. Yeah, I did about 7, 8 years ago. I got a book published called The Art Album, where we juxtapose hip hop music with visual art. So similar to what Benu was talking about making those connections. That's basically what I do with music and visual art. You know what I'm saying? And hip hop culture. I have a copy. Where my copy at? All right, cover the book right here. Yeah, Tanika and Behudet, send me your address. I'm gonna send you some copies. You know what I'm saying? So
No doubt.
I sent Benu a couple of copies last week, and so this is the book right here. I got a publishing deal a few years ago, like almost a decade ago, really. It's about 6, 7 years ago. I got Russell Simmons, Danny Simmons to host the book through like interviews, talking about each chapter. I got Nikki Giovanni wrote the intro for it, and basically what I do is we took like different songs in that time period, hip hop songs, and I interviewed a lot of hip hop artists, and then I went to like a lot of the visual artists who's like real big in quote unquote fine art world. You know what I'm saying? Like Kehinde Wiley, who painted Obama for the Smithsonian, Marcus Jansen, Fahamo Paku, like these, like he's from Atlanta, like all like the top artists around when the book was coming out, who was really getting it in, and I interviewed basically both parties, and I made the connection between their work and recording art, recording artists. And then there's like essays from scholars from certain universities, like Amani Perry from Princeton, and then I got a few essays in there. And then I could do all the interviews, and it's like it's a coffee table book. It's a lot of photos, paintings, interviews, essays, and talks about culture and basically how we're connected and how hip hop and our culture is an art form. And back to what Benu was talking about, like making those connections, tying those knots, not cutting, cutting those ties. So I'm all about that. Me and Benu spoke about working on some stuff together, and similar to what we both do. And me going to Kemet, I want to do the same thing that I did with this book over there about just making those connections. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just big on that, just making connections, like showing like that our culture is art, and everything pretty much from our culture evolves everything else. You know what I'm saying? So this trip helped me with that, and that's a piece of work that I've done before with some other great people. But yeah, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or other stuff, whatever. And I got some new books coming out soon too. I'm working on right now, actually.
Doing it there.
Duana Tech.
That's what's up. Doing too.
You could have led with that. How you gonna leave that out your intro? You understand what I'm saying? I don't appreciate that.
I wanted to keep
I don't
it cool
appreciate
Kemet.
that.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to keep it straight cool Kemet tour. You know what I'm saying?
He's a very modest brother. He's a very modest brother.
Right?
Yeah,
We gotta do a run back so we could get into it. We could get into it.
Yeah,
you know
now we got whenever you want.
Yeah.
But these are, you know what I'm saying, some artwork, some essays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some great
He didn't
artists.
say he wrote an encyclopedia and shit. You see that? You see how look.
Oh yeah, that
this
joint
ain't no
hardback
comic
too.
book.
That joint hardback, yo.
Yeah. Hardback. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
You heard?
You gotta do the run back.
Come on, man. Little Russell
Need that
Simmons,
info.
you know what I'm saying? Little Nikki Giovanni, something light, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Couple of scholars, you know what I'm saying? Just,
Hey, I thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Do I?
We out, fam. We about to get started on this other show in like 5 minutes.
All right, Vaughn, thank you. Appreciate it, brother. I hit y'all up and I'll send you some copies and speak. Thank you.
All right. That's up. Appreciate you, boy.